Hello and welcome. This is NTA Tuesday Live and I'm Cyril Stover. Now the world is currently grappling with a severe food crisis. In 2021, 2.3 billion people globally, that's over 30% of the world's population, were food insecure. And the World Food Programme expects this number to increase by 345.2 million. According to the State of Food Security and Nutrition in the World 2022, global hunger and malnutrition have increased for the third year in a row. Now, the number of undernourished people in Africa increased by 33 million between 2019 and 2021, reaching 258 million. Now, this represents a significant setback in progress towards the global zero hunger target. The Sustainable Development Goal 2, Zero Hunger, calls for the eradication of hunger by 2030. The objectives are to eradicate hunger, achieve food security, improve nutrition, and advance sustainable agriculture. This is to ensure equitable access to adequate food and reduce the prevalence of hunger globally. Nigeria, as one of the largest and most populous countries in Africa, has made some efforts in the past towards achieving zero hunger. One example is the National Multisectoral Plan of Action for Food and Nutrition 2021 to 2025, a five-year nutrition action plan that will guide the implementation of interventions and programs to address hunger and malnutrition across all sectors in Nigeria. Tonight, NTA Tuesday Live will focus on food sufficiency and stimulus for sustainability. But before we go into the discussion, let's get to see this report put together by correspondent Musa Baba Aliu.
This is what a typical market in Nigeria looks like. An informal marketplace that serves as the primary source of food sourced directly from farms. It is the key center where inflation is gauged as high or low based on consumer reactions. These markets rely heavily on farmers and middlemen who buy directly from producers and supply the markets. Surveys indicate that informal commodity markets are experiencing high supply of produce, including grains such as beans and tubers. This has led to a nationwide drop in their prices. For instance, in just 9 months, food inflation fell by 9.2 percentage points from 26.08% in January 2025 to 16.87% in September 2025, bringing a greater stability to food prices. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security confirmed that the federal government's policies and programs have played a major role in reducing food prices. The ministry noted that despite weather, social and economic challenges in rural farming communities, food production increased by about 5% during the 2025 wet season. The survey indicates that rice production increased by 9.1 million tons in 2024 to 9.4 million tons in 2025, with Niger State leading in production. Maize production was recorded at 11.4 million tons compared to 11.2 million tons in 2024, with Kaduna State recording the highest production. Sorghum production increased by 6 million tons, millet 1.55 million tons, and cowpea stood at 4.28 million tons. National yam production is projected to rise by 2.2 million % and cassava production is estimated to reach 6 million tons.
We shall institutionalize the dry season agricultural performance survey as a complement to the wet season APS, ensuring that national agricultural planning becomes year-round, data-driven exercise.
However, farmers complain that current market prices of their produce are discouraging. They point out that while input costs such as fertilizer remain high, the prices of their harvests have dropped by about 60%. They said an average farmer spends around 1.2 million to produce 20 bags of maize, yet a bag is currently selling for only 35,000 naira. When contacted, The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, stated that the federal government will provide incentives to support farmers and offset the high cost of fertilizer.
Tonight's discussion, let's introduce our guest to you tonight. We're glad to welcome to NTA Tuesday Live Dr. Amos Gizo, Chairman, Lower Benue River Basin Development Authority. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Good evening, Cyril, and good evening, viewers.
Right. Okay, let me also welcome to tonight's program Dr. Austin Maduka, Founder and Chairman, Community Allied Farmers Association of Nigeria. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Cyril, and thank you, Nigerian, for having us tonight.
And also here with us tonight is Muhammad Awalu, is National Vice President, Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, Northwest. Good evening. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Well, as you already know, the nature of this program, at some point in time it gets interactive, but when it's that time, we'll remind you of the process and the procedure. But for now, let's get down to the business of the day, which is all about food sufficiency and the stimulus for sustainability. And it's a very good note from which to start. And it's the simplest of inquiries we would start off with. And Dr. Amos Gizo, it's just for you to tell us what food sufficiency means to you and how Nigeria can achieve it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Cyril. First and foremost, for a country to be said to be economically viable, it is the ability of the country to put and place food on the tables of the citizenry. Food security has much to do about the production of food and placing it on the tables of the citizens of the country. This is one of the major objectives of the present administration. When we were appointed, the first thing before we resumed at our various basins was letting us know that we are to work as a government body that will make sure that food is crushed to 50% by giving the enabling environment to be able to produce food to the barest and lowest cost of production.
And this, you think, is what is sustainable? It can be sustained.
Well, I want to state that in this country, at least I have witnessed as a child the First Republic. It was a history. But of course, I have witnessed the Second, the Third, and the present Republic participating actively, being a councillor candidate in 1976. And I have seen the various administrations of this country. The only attempt where something goes up in this country and it went down was in 1985 when late General Buhari and Idiabo went into making sure that food was produced. And of course, they did produce enough agricultural inputs to farmers. And before Buhari left, that was the first time from the years back that something goes up and it came down. That one. After that, it had been like whenever anything goes up in this country, it does not go down again until now, when food items went beyond the reach of the ordinary man, and with government policies, especially the issue of setting up organs like the basins with the mandate of supplementing or complementing the rainy season farming and making an attempt to achieve 3 farming seasons. That one, and the government policy of trying to bring in food in order to reduce hoarding. And of course, that aspect has drastically brought down the food items in the market, because those that lived on trying to hoard food and come and sell it to the citizenry at high costs found out that they lost because of this. So it has been achieved, because if you carefully think back some few months back, let's say 5 months back to 6 months back, let me say, you just find out. I remember I'm from Plateau State, and of course, you know, we are producers of Irish potato in the country. So whenever I travel home, the only thing most people did ask for when I was moving was to bring in Irish. And I remember at one point, I bought a bag of Irish for 210. Irish is being sold for 30,000 now. And it has been sustained, and actually it has stabilized the economy.
Okay, we'll return and examine other aspects of what you have just said, but let's hear Dr. Austin Maduka and his impressions about sufficiency and what has gone into sustaining this, if we are attaining sufficiency.
Well, thank you, Cyril. The truth is that the government is really doing well. You know, taken aback from what my my brother here, the government has done wonderfully well. For the first time, we can see the rise and fall of commodities in Nigeria. But that is not to say that it is yet uhuru. Talking about sustainability, we have to have a program spelled out, because the problem we have with government programs is the sustainability. And then, you know, when this government goes and another government comes in, will they be able to continue what this government is doing? We can remember the Uncle Brass program of the past administration. We can remember the GES program of Jonathan administration. All those ones have been forgotten. Some of those beautiful initiatives and policies of the government never continued. And that is where it affects sustainability. And now in agriculture, we should look at 2 different types of agriculture that is sustainable. The production for domestic need and production for industrial needs. Now, if you look at the grains we're talking about now, it is only one source that is still producing this grain that we're all depending on, the smallholder farmers. How many mega farmers do you have in Nigeria that produces a large quantity for the industrial need? You see that everybody is still going to the same market. So if government withdraws their supports, the price will go up again. Because the government now is supporting, we can see that there's a drastic drop, you know, on the prices of commodities. But if the government is unable to sustain this program, automatically it will go up. But if there is a policy or there is a standard program initiated by the government, creating an enabling environment and, you know, encouraging private investors to come in, that will make it to be sustained. If you look at the angle of businessmen, you know that a private businessman continue to sustain his business. Let's look at the transport sector. When RFI was Minister of Abuja, they had a bus called RFI bus. But those buses are phased out today now because they couldn't sustain it. But you look at ABC Transport, the Young Shagru, and other private luxurious owners, they are still managing those businesses because that is their private business and they must keep it to run. Same with agriculture. Government must be deliberate enough, you know, to design a program that even if they go and any government comes in, it must continue with the project or the program of the previous administrations. In so doing, we'll be able to have a sustainable and a workable and a dependable and food sufficiency will be guaranteed.
Okay, thank you so much for your opening comments. And let's come to the rice farmer now and hear from him.
Let me start by saying rice is the only crop that is consumed in every household at least once in a day. That shows how important it is. But recently, what is happening in the production cycle, government need to do more to encourage the farmers to produce. The input prices are very, very high, and the farm gate prices are declining. So this has a lot of effect on the producers, that is the smallholder farmers, in the sense that some of them might be discouraged in the future, either to produce what they can only consume or leave the farming at all and venture into other business that they think can keep them up and running. So if it is easy to do, to make, there is one thing, making the food sufficient and it's not affordable is another problem on its own. So our target should be to produce the food, given the enabling environment, and also naturally, when you have lower cost of input, the prices will drop further. So consumers can have it very cheaply. And also we have to look at the activities of the middlemen as well. Government should come in into aggregating some of these crops so that at least the supply can be sustained.
Are we still having what we call the middlemen? I thought at some point in time they said due to the policies that have been enunciated, due to the activities of professional, farmers associations and the major stakeholders in agriculture and enlightenment, the matter of middlemen who would come and clean up produce, farm produce, and then hoard for later to sell at exorbitant rates. I thought that had been taken care of. We still grappling with
still
that
exists, even though the activity is going down, but it is still around. You see, the association and the cooperatives are just producers. It's just to assist the farmers to produce enough food, for sufficient food for the country. But they don't control what goes into the market. They don't control what farmers takes into the market. Even if the farmer, even the farmer is given a loan, at least all you take is that part of the loan, the repayment. The rest, he keeps some to consume and some will take the market. It is good also to know that, about 90% to 80% of the farmers we have in this country are smallholder farmers. Those are the farmers that produce enough. So those are the farmers that they cannot support themselves if they are not well taken of. And that would definitely affect the market.
So let me just quickly put this to Dr. Maduka. What do you tell your members? You as chairman of the Community Allied Farmers Association, what do you tell your members?
Like what we're doing, we do a lot of sensitization. We also do a lot of training and advocacy, knowing the challenges, just like what Awal is saying. the primary production is usually done by the smallholder farmers, and then some of them who are buoyant enough also now do value addition. So in our case, what we do is we talk to them, encourage them to do more. Just like what you're saying now, this very season, a lot of farmers may not likely go back to the farm next season because of the challenge of cost of agrochemical, like the fertilizer, the pesticide, the herbicides. Because, like myself, I lost over $1 million plus this year, and I don't think I will be able to go back again and farm next year. What I will do is to go and buy and wait. At the time that the prices drops, I'll buy and then stock for my animal feed and what have you. So, and we're trying to design programs that will help our smallholder farmers to sustain whatever they are doing. Because you know that gradually this thing will face over. These things will face over too. In the area of security is also a major challenge. Where most of our farmers don't even go to their farms again because of the fear of being attacked by herders or militants or whatever. So we are trying to, we are always engaging them and also trying to also engage the governors, the governments at the federal and state level to see how they can create a cluster farm. Last week I was talking to one of our consultants on how we can bring our farmers closer to the house for safety. And it's a major challenge because most of these farmers go very far, miles from their place of residence to go and farm, and they are not sure of coming back home. And most times during the harvest period, they're even afraid to harvest. So some of these things are what we're trying, calling out to the government, talking to security agencies to see how they can assist our smallholder farmers to mitigate all this. And if those things are not well taken care of, sustainability is going to be a problem. So the government have to look at it critically. One, land clearing, making sure that more lands are open, security are provided, the elimination of middlemen is also taken care of, the commodity board being constituted, government give assurance of taking. I was thinking His Excellency will be here today. I wanted to ask him questions about COMDEC in Gombe that was set up during the time of His Excellency Ibrahim Nkwambu. The concept was for COMDEC to do an in-grow and outgrow program for farmers and then off-take at the time of harvest. And then they have storage facilities, so the farmers don't need to be afraid. And then there's going to be a price fixed. So you are sure that whatever you grow, at the end of the season, somebody buys off from you and pay you. So if you are taking a loan from the government or from the bank, you know that at this particular time of the year, you're not indebted to anybody. And then the river basin. I think I want to appreciate Mr. President for reviving back the river basin. All the river basin authorities, when I was young, I know of river basin, I know of all those basins. But for years now, we've not been hearing about the river basin. But thank God, they have been revived. So the river basin also need to contribute because they have access to some of these dams and expansion of, so that we can have food all year, not depending on rain-fed agriculture.
All right. Let's come to Dr. Gizo. And you heard the gentlemen, what they said, and the direction in which this discussion, it's even setting its own pace here, because we started off talking about sufficiency and sustainability. Now, yes, the prices are coming down, as you say, and I wanted to know if this is sustainable. But if we're looking at some of these challenges now, we would ask, how long will this last? If we are not producing to that level and sustaining the levels of production, of course, the demand won't remain static, and it does mean that there will be questions over sufficiency.
Thank you very much, Cyril. I've heard my colleagues. Of course, they concord with my introductory speech. But I need to give some kind of clearance to the issue of sustainability. This is an administration that came in with a focus, and of course, long-term plans had been part of the thing that the administration had put on ground. And of course, just like you had Dr. Maduka saying, appreciating Mr. President to put back the river basins, bringing in people of which he believes that they would project his program. And of course, part of the introduction which I didn't make, I am the chairman of Lower Benue River Basin Development Authority and the coordinating chairman of the 12 river basins. For the first time, we have come together and we think together. We are always in my office looking at the problems of this country. But let me go back to the issue of sustainability, as he had said. Of course, he answered some of the things when I had him talk. He answered some of the things I was going to say. First and foremost, the program will be sustained because the government clearly had directed us to go into PPP. And you know, when you involve investors in any program of government, of production in particular, you know they will definitely protect their investment. We have foreign investors who are interested into coming in to invest in agriculture, and at the same time programs that they have set that they would become the off-takers. Food in particular, we have equally told them when they did meet us in our meetings that what we want is not just taking out our food, taking it to China or India or any country, then processing it and bringing it to the country. Our decision is that we will take them. They are going to do a cluster farming. There is one of the organizations that is prepared to put in about $4 billion in the river basins, and that we are going to produce 100,000 hectares of land and recruit about 25,000 farmers. And these 25,000 farmers will be given inputs. We and government should produce the land and some infrastructures. Then they will put in the money to get the tractors, to get the fertilizer, to get the herbicide, to get the improved seeds and hand it over to the farmers. And these farmers, when they farm, there is an arrangement of 50, 40, and 30. We, the supervising body at the river basins, we will maintain 10, and 10, please. We will maintain 10% of the total produce from the farmer. Then the investors will have 40, and the farmers will have 50 without putting in their own money. It is a kind of an empowerment program, and at the same time aimed at producing food sufficiency, because food security is key to Mr. President. And this is going to be a long-term program that will be given to the investors, that the land will be on lease for a minimum of 20 years. And the investor would definitely want to make up his money. That will clear up the issue of sustainability of the program. But I want to state, even today, we had a meeting with the group, and what we said is key to production, and that is the issue of security. But we believe that if it is a cluster farming, there are too many people there, but we have gone further to state some things that I wouldn't want to mention in particular, the way security will be handled on the farms. But the obvious one is that use of surveillance, high rising surveillance cameras that can go at a radius of about 100 kilometers either way. So those things are being put in place by government, and government had already met in the policy and had directed us, if we can, that we have partial privatization and commercialization of the river basins. So We are working on that. There's much to be said on this, but for now, that is what I believe that will give in the sustainability. And of course, when we were watching here, a key figure of government you did here, we equally have complained about the balance in the production this year. But what I want to say is, any system that had gone bad and you want to correct, there are certain pains that are taken. I did farm, and it's a matter of fact when Dr. Maduka said he lost 1 million. If I tell you, and a matter of fact, I lost over 5 million. I've done the harvest, but if I do sell the harvest of the crops compared to the production, I have lost over 5 million already. But I accept it because it is not easy. When something is bad, to be able to build back, you have to pass through certain experiences. But I'm very comfortable, and I believe that it will be better soonest, and it will be sustained.
All right, in addition to the discussion here, we do have a number of reports. Let's get to see this one from Kanu.
The Yankaba perishable market is alive with its usual hustling and bustling, but beyond the noise and movement, buyers here are breathing a sigh of relief as prices of major food items continue to drop after months of unbearable hikes. A basket of tomatoes goes for 30,000 naira, while a bag of pepper is currently 35,000 naira, but onions has recorded a sharp increase from 22 to 45,000 naira per bag.
We are getting customers, and fresh products are always coming from the farm. We thank God prices have dropped compared to how they were.
From perishables to grains, the story is the same at the popular Dawanau market, where an influx of farm products has boosted supply and eased pressures on prices.
We really thank God, like Gero now. Before, if you do not have 2,015, but now the price has come that if you have your 1,000, you can buy the mudu of Gero to make your kunu.
A bag of millet has dropped to 35,000 naira, while sorghum sells for 30,000 to 35,000 naira, compared to 65,000 naira just some few months ago. Cowpeas has also recorded a sharp decline, falling from 95 to 65,000 naira. A 50 kg bag of rice goes for 120,000 naira.
All we do not want in any situation to see that farmers are getting just free things, but there is a need for government to really devise a means, the same means that it also used to bring down the cost of essential food items. So that same strategy should also be used to bring down the cost of essential things like fertilizer.
Losses we are seeing, let's say from onions and other vegetables, is massive. So much so that people are beginning to think that people should be encouraged, and the government too can invest in the processing of these products so that the losses can be minimized.
Stakeholders believe that government and development partners must collaborate to provide farmers with improved seedlings, fertilizers, credit facilities, and security support to keep them in business and maintain stable food supply.
All right, from Kanu to Ebonyi, that's where our next report comes from.
Agriculture has evolved over the years, moving from the traditional and subsistence farming to mechanized and modern innovations like the sack bag farming. These, residents say, are responsible for the crash in prices of most commodities, especially the staple foods, more so with the incentives and distribution of inputs to farmers by the Ebonyi State government.
We sensitize every woman to start growing their food, even if they don't have land. Let them use sacks bag farm. And because of that, everybody, including civil servants, all of them went massive production to make sure that there's food on their table.
Where before, size of this yam, it's under 15,000, but now it's 10,000, 9,000. This biggest size. Many people has entered the farm, but before, people are not entered the farm.
Yellow is nice, 1.5, white is 1.2. Why that the garri is coming down? Because everybody, this is our season, but small time now, garri will be coming up again.
Residents re-echoed the need for government to leverage on the success recorded to reinstitute agriculture, which used to be the mainstay of Nigeria's economy before the discovery of oil, by prioritizing the provision of storage facilities to avert wastage of harvested farm produce, which is the bane of the sector.
Yes, the current prices of food items, especially the staple food, have really gone down. And this is a welcome development. You know, this is because of so many interventions by federal, by state, by local government, by everyone. You know, and another thing I also want to speak on is infrastructure like road, storage facilities. Government should also hasten up and do more about that.
The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Agriculture, Ebonyi State, Mr. Fidelis Nwankwo, highlighted some efforts by the state government to sustain the tempo.
His Excellency the President approved the opening of the border, so some food came in from other neighboring countries, backed up with the ones we produce internally. So the price of food crashed. And to sustain this, His Excellency the Governor of Ebonyi State did everything possible by one, creating an agency called Land Development Authority, Ebonyi State Land Development Authority, which went and recovered all government farmlands that were encroached by communities and villages. And this made it available for youths, women, and other farmers to access this land.
With 50% of Ebonyi citizens engaged in agriculture, Mr. Nwankwo said plans are underway to lease out more lands to Ebonyi people and cultivate more demonstration farms through the Ebonyi State Agricultural Land Development Authority to ensure sustained food sufficiency.
All right, we're back here in the studio, and Dr. Malik, we've got two quick issues here for you to respond. There are those who say, yes, prices are coming down, but the factors are a little bit different. Mainly, one would think it's seasonal. Harvest time, usually you'd have more. And the fact that food is being imported as well. Now, two things I'd like to find out here. Is it a good thing to import? Remember, the borders were closed. It was meant to encourage local production and to stop flight. Okay. And secondly, when the harvest season is over, are we going to still witness the same scenario?
Well, I'm not a prophet of doom. Usually by this time of the season, prices of commodities usually go down. It's a normal thing this season because a lot of farmers are bringing in fresh harvest from the farm. Some borrowed money, some in cooperative societies, they collected a loan, some from the bank, some from their family members and what have you. So this period they want to sell, pay back what they've collected. So whatever they make as profits, they are good to go. But looking at the sustainability and looking at the rise of prices, well, I don't want to predict doom for our country. Our prayer is that the price should remain the way it is now, or even go lesser. But I want to plead with the government to sustain the tempo and also look at encouraging farmers with support, just like what the administration of General Muhammadu Buhari did and Goodluck Jonathan did, giving subsidy, an intervention that would reduce the cost of production. 3, 4, 5 years ago, a hectare of cassava takes between 200,000 to 350,000 to grow a hectare of cassava. But today, you can't do that with less than 1.something million naira. And there's no way you can compete with somebody growing cassava in Cotonou or in Ghana or in South Africa. And if we're going to the international market, we can't break even. Now, if we want the government to open the borders and flood in with commodities in Nigeria, well, the government will not be doing us good because that will also kill the local productions here. And if our farmers are not smiling as usual, if the imported goods are competing with the local production, me as a farmer, I prefer eating what I grow. Just like when somebody was talking in one of the distance here, we're talking about sack-back agriculture, which so many people, it's a new innovation that many people have keyed into now, and that has also helped in bringing down the cost of production. In Anambra, I did 10,000 bags of yam for somebody who based abroad. In Abuja here, we did for a church, and they grew it for their church members. And likewise, in other states, we've done sack bags, encouraging people to do bags. I did ginger, I did garlic, I did turmeric, I did yam, I did potato in sack bags. And some also encourage people to do cassava in sack bags. So those innovations also helped. Now, if I have 100 tubers of yam, I will not go to the market to buy. I'll also give to my neighbors. If I want to sell, my price will be different because there's no middleman in between me and the buyer. And then we also encourage people to go into aquaculture and animal husbandry and livestock and fishery and things like that. That have also helped in mitigating all these challenges. But our prayers is that the government should sustain this. I want to talk to the representative of the government here because he's also standing in for the government.
All right.
Because I know those days when we were younger, my father was part of those who built Goronyo Dam. And I know in Goronyo they grew more of rice in Goronyo those days. So if the river basin will come back alive the way it used to be before, and government is funding agriculture the way it should be, looking at the research institutions, it's not about clearing land. We need to have improved seedlings. We need to have quality fertilizer. We need to look at our storage facilities so that we don't fall back to glut when we have excesses and nobody is taking them. Look at value addition. What are we, turning these things into? If you go to countries like Thailand, they have the rice beer. They have the pharmaceutical companies use rice to produce some of their drugs. They have the rice wine. They have the rice but here is only consumption. We only eat rice. No other, no derivative again. There's nothing again we use rice for, apart from eating it as white rice, jollof rice, or fried rice. But in other developed countries, rice are used for so many other things. Cassava can do so many things. Cassava can be used for paint making. Cassava can be used for furniture making. Cassava can be used for pharmaceutical, for food, and for animals' feed. So the government should look at those directions and see how these things can be sustained. One, there should be more sensitization. People are not well informed in terms of the modern technologies, and now with the coming of AI, a lot of informations are there for people to tap in. But if you look at the majority of these people that are growing these foods, they are local people. Some of them are not educated. So we need to do more. We're looking at the area of insurance, insuring the crop, and also insuring the farmers. Because most of the problem we have is that when a farmer collects a loan and he dies, the payment becomes a problem. And that will not sustain the program again because you can't go back to such kind of failed or bad loans, to sustain such kind of programs for continuity. So the government and private sector should sit at a round table and see how we can, make agriculture more sustainable for the betterment of all of us as a people and as a nation.
All right, thanks a lot. I am told that we've been joined by Dr. Ifeanyi Amos Ekweme, He is of the Department of Agricultural Economics and Extension, Ignatius Ajuru University of Education, Port Harcourt. He joins us via Zoom. I want to believe that this introduction is correct, Dr. Ifeanyi Amos Ekweme. That's right? Well, right. Thank you so much for joining. Right. Thank you very much for joining us. And, well, you probably have been following this discussion on food sufficiency and sustainability. Let's hear your thinking about the subject matter and of food sufficiency and how it can be sustained in Nigeria.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
All right, good evening. Good evening. Sorry for joining a bit late. Well, I want to thank the speakers here for bringing more a very elaborate discussion on this food sufficiency. And I think for a nation like Nigeria to be food sufficient, we need to look into some certain areas. He was just talking about taking this information down to the farmers in the rural areas. I think one aspect we need to look into very much is extension services in Nigeria. When I was growing up, we used to see extension workers come to rural communities to come and advertise or inform the farmers in the areas about new seedlings and improved varieties, or that was just developed from a research institute. But today, if you go to our various ministries, you will understand that we are lacking extension services. And if we are talking about being reliant on what we produce in this nation, we must look into that. For instance, if we go to the research institutes, there are a lot of activities going on there, a lot of improvement going on with use of AI, like you say, and the GMO crops. But how are these farmers getting to know about this? They don't know, because there's nobody taking it to them. Some of them don't have access to modern facilities, like the internet, to Google this thing, to access this thing. And even if they do, how will they assimilate it? So it's the function, the work of the extension officer to take this thing down to them. That's where training and retraining comes in for us to be there. Now we're talking about mechanized agriculture, how we want to mechanize agriculture in order to be reliant, food sufficient. Even if we bring all the machines today and nobody is there to teach these farmers, how are they going to know about them? I want to draw an instance. Years back, there's this cassava variety that was introduced to the nation, and it was supposed to increase the food productivity, because it's the duration period is just 6 months. Well, a lot of farmers were not aware of it. But there was a program we carried out in my AGA in Opa, Ibimandon, in local government. Just a little NGO. We tried to take this information down to these farmers and make that this variety you are seeing, you can use it for 6 months. You can plant 2 times in a year, and that's massive. And most of them were like, how? But when they killed him, today I can categorically tell you that if you come to my LGA, what you see there is more of these cassava varieties. But what planting production here has increased in this area, production has increased. But on that aspect of it is, what are we doing with these things? Just like the speaker, the guest there was saying, in Nigeria, only thing we use cassava for is garri, fufu, and all that. But if you go to other nations, cassava can be used for a lot of things. More recently, some countries are starting on how to use aviation fuel and all that. And all that, there are also byproducts of it, but we are not making use of it. It's not about production. It's not just about producing. But I want to thank the president, who have been so proactive since he has joined office, with coming up with a lot of innovations in the agricultural sector, providing provision of seedlings, fertilizers and some grants to farmers. But these things cannot be useful without proper management and follow-up. In this country, one thing is there to make policy. The other is for us to follow it up. And for us to be where we want to be, we must make policy and see how we can drive this policy down to the rural areas and down to the end users. And in order to do that, so that we can achieve the actual aim, because every policy, I believe, have the reason why the government actually wants that policy to strive. And most of the reason is that for those policies, they are being made so that so that it can also increase, it can reduce poverty rate or eradicate poverty and increase our food productivity. But these things, some of them, I was in IIT a few years ago, and I saw how they were turning banana and plantain to ethanol. I said ethanol on the cycle and all that. I asked them as a student, what are you using this for? They were explaining a lot of things. And if you key into this, Nigeria can make money out of this. Another example I want to give. I am into oil palm production in this place. We are producing. But what are we using? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, sure. Go on. We're with you. We're with you. We are with you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Right, go ahead, but we can hear you clearly.
Hello?
Oh, well, okay. Signal's freezing from your end there, but we'll return to him in just a moment, and because there was a very important point he was making here, and we also heard it from the studio here about us just consuming without using these items for something else. But let's come to the rice farmer once again. And since rice is a good example to use here, I mean, one of the staples. And the question is, how effective these interventions by government, have they been effective? Interventions such as input subsidies, these are the things we're asking for, irrigation programs, and of course, this matter of the strategic food reserves. Have those been effective?
Yeah, I think Mr. President, through the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security, has done a lot actually in making sure that the prices of food have come down. And he's also trying as much as possible through the provision of mechanization tools to improve the yield. You know, one of the problems we have is post-harvest losses. And with mechanization tools harvested and thought, you reduce that by almost the harvest loss to about less than 5%, which is very key. And that is one. Also the storages that of taking and storing also will go a long way in protecting the consumers from the havoc of those hoarders. They hoard at a later time, sell at a very, very high prices. I think government did that last year, and I hope they will do that again this year. Coming back to the prices of food, how to sustain it. And it's not only to sustain the food, make it sufficient, but also make it affordable. What do you do? Is one, the government should continue and have this distribution of input targeted to the clusters and then corporate groups. Because those are places where you can control that certain control. You can control the farmers, and you know who you are giving your inputs to. And you can also question how they are utilized. Coming to the irrigation scheme. Irrigation schemes, I'm glad that they are now organizing themselves into a kind of speaking with one voice. Irrigation scheme can produce 3 times in a year. They can produce, each harvest I think is for 4 months, and they can do that 3 cycles. But you see, another key thing that they have to look into is the cropping calendar. When the cropping calendar is not right, you hardly get it right. That is, they know the starting period of each cropping season and where it ends. Like in this part of the country, the northern part of the country, we have 2 cycles of the dry season and 1 cycle of wet season. And in the southern part of the country, we have 2 cycles of wet season and 1 cycle of dry season. So this, God has designed it this way. So we can produce throughout the year. Rice also is all about water. Wherever you have water sufficient, you can produce rice. So we have this comparative advantage that in the north you can produce also twice. You can do 2 cycles in dry season and then 1 in wet season. In the south you can have 2 cycles of wet season and 1 cycle of dry season. All we need is enabling environment, provision of inputs, affordable inputs that will help the farmers to grow more. And government has to look into the policies of provision of seeds, improved seeds, and also the right seeds. Because most times what is being sold in the market is just mere grains, not the seed. So we have to look into the issue of seed critically. If we have an improved yield, let's say a farmer that can produce, that is an average of international standard for every crop. Let's say we are having a farmer in 1 hectare will produce, will cultivate, will have a yield of about 4 tons. He can equally have a yield of about 10 tons in that hectare, with improved seed, with the best practices, with the right inputs. He can produce more. So we have to look at producing more per hectare. By hectare, this will go a long way in providing sufficient food, and also the farmer will be happy because what he used to cultivate that same space of 1 hectare is the same and cultivate, let's say, 4 tons. Is the same space that he can use with the best practice, the right tools, the right input to cultivate 10 tons per hectare. Right. So you have moment that will compensate him in a way. So we have to look at that, and all this support has to be coordinated and targeted. Yes, we know they are doing so much honestly, and we want them to do more. And this time around, we want it to be targeted to clusters and other groups that are coordinated, those that you can trace, you understand, the performance of what they are doing. I think that will go a long way in improving those activities.
Well, we'll take a short break here. When we return, there'll be more on food sufficiency in Nigeria, so stay with us. We'll be right back.
The government of Nigeria warns vandals of national assets, electricity transmission towers, cables, and other facilities to desist from this act of sabotage. Vandalism is a serious crime punishable under the law. Vandalizing electrical equipments will affect millions of Nigerians, including your loved ones. Remember that national assets belong to all of us, hence the need to protect them. Report all cases of suspicious movement around electrical facilities to security agencies. When you see something, say something. This message is from the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation in collaboration with the National Counter-Terrorism Center, NCTC, Office of the National Security Advisor.
From the Atlantic across the savannah to the Sahara, we rise, a land of the free, we know they tire. We dream great, our spirit is undying.
Resilient, rooted like palm tree, we sway in colors, we turn dark into light, we bet solutions, we ignite passion, yeah. Each ethnicity is unique, we are more than just a nation.
We are Nigeria, strengthening unity, we know they carry lives. We are Nigeria, together live the dream of a land with great destiny. We are Nigeria.
I am the real Nigerian. Brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, NOA. NTA Tuesday Live, a network issue-oriented innovation talk show.
Right, thanks for staying with us. It's the matter of food sufficiency and sustainability. This is what we're discussing tonight, and we had a number of very interesting perspectives just before we took a break. Now, this segment is when the phone lines will be open. The numbers to call will be on your screens, and you can call in with a question or comments regarding what we're discussing. And as we say every Tuesday, if you're calling in and your call gets through, do us a favor, turn down the volume of your TV set to avoid the hurlback or the echo. And we also like to encourage you to keep such comments and questions as briefly as possible so that others can also get on the platform and air their views. And we particularly ask that you not spend time with the greetings. There's really no need for it. It's just a simple hello, or just go straight to the point. We'll appreciate that. Well, we have one more report, and we're starting off with that report, and this is from Yobe.
The federal government's recent interventions, ranging from subsidized fertilizer and improved seed to credit support and mechanization incentives, are driving renewed momentum in food sector. The relevant agencies and partners continue to strengthen coordination to expand production, stabilize markets, and ensure better food availability for households. In Yobe State, these national efforts are already reflecting in local markets. Surveys from Damaturu and Potoskum markets showed a drop in prices of goods, particularly grains and other staples, as more produce reaches the markets.
It is gratifying that the intervention by the state government last year has contributed tremendously to the increase in food production and economic empowerment of our people. Therefore, the government found it expedient to intensify this intervention.
In the year 2024, procured various types of agricultural inputs and distributed to the nooks and crannies of Yobe State. This was basically to improve the potentiality of agricultural aspect of the state.
Similarly, the Yobe State Ministry of Budget and Planning and Bureau of Statistics observed that peasant farmers, who form the backbone of Yobe's agricultural system, alongside large-scale producers, are reporting improved yields following timely input distribution and strengthened extension services by the state government. And with the experienced favorable weather and expanded farmlands, early indicators for 2025 harvest are positive. It noted that farmers and market observers should expect further price stability in the coming weeks, though it emphasized the need for continued policy consistency, better storage, and sustained support to maintain the grains. Yobe's progress mirrors the broader national drive for food sufficiency as Nigeria works towards long-term stability and sustainable agricultural growth.
All right, here we're back with the issues, and as we are with the calls, just before the break, we were on to Dr. Ifeanyi Amos Ekweme, and somewhere along the line, yes, there was some freezing, and we lost those signals. I'm glad to see that you're back. I know you started off talking about the role of extension workers and how important it is to keep training and retraining so that they can keep the farmers abreast of new methods and improvements in agricultural practice. But let me bring this question to you and ask what you think. And this is about what's been referred to now as climate-smart agricultural systems that will prioritize sustainable practices and environmental conservation. Where is Nigeria in all of this? And can you develop or achieve food sufficiency and sustainability without this?
All right. I don't think so. Climate smart agriculture is a trending phenomenon right now all around the world. And if you look at the Nigeria, for instance, now, the global warming, most especially for those of us who are in the southern region of Nigeria, where oil exploration is on the high, that the normal rainy season does not end at the point where it ends. Like now, unlike before, the rains would have ceased. But today, in Rivers State here, where I am, the rain is still coming like we're in normal rainy season. So if we don't adopt climate smart agriculture, we cannot achieve these things. For instance, the crops who normally we produce during the wet season, and we target them to those periods. Because for the fact that there is a change in the ecosystem, and the time we program to be the wet season is no longer the wet season. So we cannot achieve that. For instance, let me say you want to plant cassava, and let me use the cassava. You want to plant cassava normally we plant it, let's say from February, March, so that we target the rains. And now you start to say, let me plant. And what is the possibility that the rains will come by the time you are targeting it? It's not there. But if you have your climate smart, we can produce this thing using irrigation and all that. We can improvise in other means to achieve this thing. So if we don't imbibe into climate smart agriculture, we cannot achieve this. We cannot achieve food sufficiency. And that's where also the work of the extension workers come in. Like now, most farmers don't even understand what we mean by climate smart agriculture. They don't understand. So it is for we, the extension officers, to take it to them. But how are we going to take? If you're not trained, you cannot teach what you don't have, or you cannot give what you don't have. So I think there is need for the government to look into the extension services, because there is no way, and I repeat, there is no way we can achieve anything meaningful without training and retraining.
All right, thank you very much. Then back here, Dr. Amos Gizu, you heard the man.
Yes. Thank you very much. First and foremost, before I get to the issue of extension farmers, I want to just make a statement about sustainability of not allowing food to come in.
Right.
I want to state that this was done because hoarders had so much of food waiting for the rainy period for them to be able to bring out the food at exorbitant prices. It was a temporary measure.
Yes. So how long should this go on?
No. It would not continue. I am saying that this will not continue, because if you just go into some stores today, the food that they hoarded about 2 years back, they are there, and they will get rotten. They will not be there. So since the price is stable, if they continue to say they will keep it to hoard it, government will be doing some interventions like what it had done, and of course they will lose. So that will stop this. So I want to say this. Then secondly, the issue of retraining or extension workers.
Right.
The river basins are at best of it because every river basin have project sites. In a state, for instance, my state, we have 6 project sites, 2 from each of the senatorial districts. And the purpose of these project sites, it has officers that are supposed to be extension workers that will be training the locals. So that program is on ground. We are only happy that we have a president that has decided to resuscitate the river basins, and we've told our colleagues severally, we've had meetings, that this program and project sites should be brought back, because we have farms. At every project site there are farms that we use. And just like we had someone say about the issue of government of Ebonyi, when we had the report, taking over the lands that were meant for government to do all pilot programs, taking them over. That is something we are doing because some of the lands we have are being encroached on. Therefore, we had seen extension workers 1984, 85. There were extension workers every village. I did witness it, and we are trying to even do better. Then the second thing is this irrigation, which of course it's our main mandate, managing water for food production, for water for consumption, and water for industries, industrialization. The current system, we are encouraging managing this water through use of drip irrigation. It's faster than going into gigantic production of dams where you will spend 10, 15 years. It's a long time thing. So what we have planned to do in order to help the farmers is to go into using the water, whether borehole or well or whatever, but using the drip machines where you can even transfer. If you have a big place like this, you use one here, and you see irrigation gives you the best of yield than even the rainy season because it doesn't have the issue of flood. You give in the water as demanded, you maximize water and whatever. So we are bringing that system in to be able to help the farm. The local farmer can have just one system of irrigation, which is not more than 3,000 naira, a system of the movement. You just, 300,000 naira. You just move it from one point to the other, and you will be able to cultivate large hectares of land within your own period, controlling the water, no waste, and of course no flood, and whatever you control, you do it as it is. So there are a lot of programs we are putting on ground. Lastly, to succeed, the foreign investors, the consultants, the farmers, government, river basins, Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Water Resources, we have to come together with the state governments to come together to package up and help the people, because every aspect that I have mentioned, every organization I have mentioned, they have a key role to play. Like my friend here, after your program, I thank you for bringing my friend. We are actually looking for refund. They are our people, they are part of us. But for my friend having to be this, we would need to sit and bring out a program that will help government to help the people. This is a people-oriented government, and it is willing to make sure, and it had already demonstrated, to make sure that food is put on the table of the citizenry. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. I'd like to return to the matter of mechanization. And again, we've heard different aspects to it, how important it is, but with a caveat, really, saying you could have all the mechanization in the world, but without people with a hands-on knowledge and how to put them to use, you would not be achieving much. But again, we still find that, as all of you have agreed, it's the small farmers who are producing, and they hardly have access to mechanization. That's the question we want you to take on, because we just want to take in this call that is coming through. Shamsuddin, who's calling in. Hello, Shamsuddin, let's hear you. Shamsuddin, if you're on, let's hear you. Yes, Shamsuddin, go ahead just as soon as you turn down the volume of your TV set, so that we avoid this hurlback, this howl. Right, thank you, go ahead. Yes, go on.
In KB here today, I'm a farmer. Well, and then I am into a business. Yes, and we are having, sufficient, support from the state government of KB in terms of agriculture, actually. And this around, if I can recall, the government has done so many things to assist the local farmers with this. Yes, and so the issue we are having right now is that is insecurity. Actually, that's the only problem we're having. Well, the state government are doing well, much better to improve farming activity. And we, like the other part said about Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Water. Yes, we have been collaborating with them, and then we have sufficient, water supply, and then the government has been given, generator to pump water for especially rice farming, and then which, in progress. And as I'm telling you, as yesterday, the pack of rice with 8,000 naira in Kebbi. Yeah, so I think we are still appealing to the government to assist, especially the local farmers. Yeah, because due to our language.
All right, Shamsuddin from Kebbi, thank you very much. And we'll keep a note on that and still pursue the angle of curbing insecurity so that more farmers can get back to their farms. But if we return to you, Dr. Maduka, on the matter of mechanization.
Oh, thank you, Sir. Globally and locally, if we want to sustain agriculture and grow more food, it's very important that we must think the way of mechanization. And mechanization is not only about tractor, because when you talk about mechanization, people think of only tractor. Tractor is not the only equipment. When you talk about mechanization, we have the harvester, the planter, the sprayer, and so many other equipment that you need, in agricultural mechanization. But one thing is very, very important, the important and the usage of mechanization is what we'll also look at, training and retraining people, and then managing these tractors. I remember in 2015 or thereabout, I was in Oyo State, and in the whole of Oyo State, I think they have only one tractor in each of the local governments. And you know that's not enough. Annually, by this time now, in Taraba, in Nasarawa, in some part of the northeast part of Nigeria, people who does dry season farming start looking for tractors. And you see that some of these tractors are mostly owned by private owners. The government mechanization section of the Ministry of Agriculture no longer works. Even in the local governments, most of the tractors, you can't find them again. So I think for us as a people and as government to go into full-time agri mechanization, one, there should be a dedicated program for agricultural mechanization in terms of land clearing, in terms of land preparation, in terms of cultivation, in terms of farm maintenance. And then there should be a pool or a section or a station where these things can be applied for and then also be gotten. Because now, if somebody wants to even get a tractor, they don't even know where to get them. They don't even know where the service providers are. Apart from, I don't want to advertise for anybody, apart from the private tractor owners and then the tractor association, and then some, like Rifa, I think they're working with Afan. They have their own tractors, but it's not enough. Thank God the president launched a tractor a few days ago. And I saw also, I think, on the social media, where they're also advertising that people should go and apply through the Bank of Agriculture. Now, how many of the farmers are aware of these windows? And how will they be able to access this fund? We're also doing a private-driven project of such, where farmers can pay down about 6 million, and then Bank of Industry give them a loan of 10 million to acquire a smaller tractor from India. So such kind of interventions can go a long way to support the agricultural mechanization policy of the government. But we need to have a dedicated program for agricultural mechanization, and then we'll train the operators and train the motor boys, and have a station where people can apply. For instance, those who want to go into dry season farming should start preparing for dry season now, and those for wet season as early as January can make payment, just like the the growth enhancement scheme of Jonathan. So you know a redemption center or a service station where you can go and apply. And maintenance is also important. It's not about buying them. It's also about maintaining them, sustaining them, and making sure that these things are not destroyed, because most times public property belongs to nobody.
All right, back to the phones. Dr. Edim, I believe, from Port Harcourt. If you're there, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. You'd have to cut the volume of your TV set because I can hear the hurlback all the way through. So go ahead.
Okay. In terms of, I'm going to try to contribute to this program. Like in this area, mostly almost in River State, you know, just that we don't normally have much government support when it comes to farming and for the farmers. But if, because there are vast land and also we have a fertile land, which if there is more support from the government to the farmers, I think there will be more food supply and sustainability. And there is a place, there is also, we have a Grey River project Farm Propagation Center in Onelga, owned by Owando Energy, formerly Nigerian Agip Oil Company. You see, they are there to support farmers, and also, but the problem there is that how are they reaching out to farmers so that for more sustainability, at least for more educate them, enlighten them, support them, and give them materials that will help them to produce more crops and food for the nation. I think that's just what we need, basically a reverse statement.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Edim from Port Harcourt, Makia. Well, you heard Dr. Maduka say, apart from private owners and maybe refund that has its own. So let's hear from you as the National Vice President of the Rice Farmers Association. Let's hear the level of mechanization that you've been able to introduce in rice farming.
Well, in as much as we have our own tractors, which we service our farmers with, those farmers are not enough. Recently, I know when this government came into power, I think Mr. President keep talking about mechanization, and post-harvest losses. You see, with good mechanization tools, you produce more food at a very controlled price, very cheap. Because your cost of production will definitely drop. And with the cost of production drop, definitely it will affect the consumer also, will have some relief. So what we want with these federal government programs on mechanization is to have more tractors. The number of tractors, the program approved is not even enough. We pray the president will acquire more tractors and other mechanization tools. Just like my colleague just said, it's not just the tractor. You have the harvesters, you have the planters, you have the boom sprayers. These are things that a farmer that cultivate 1 hectare of land. With the mechanization tools, he can cultivate 5 or 6, or 3 at least. And then the yield will be higher than using manual means of land preparation, planting, and whatever. So it's a good thing. And what also we want Mr. President to do is to maybe have these tractors distributed all across the country. Of course, the irrigation scheme should have also as much as possible the right number that will help them to produce 3 times in they support their farmers 365 days of the year, because that can happen. But like I said, they have to come up with a plan, cropping calendar, right cropping calendar that will support the seasons. Most times in this country, we start preparation at the middle of the season. Like a dry season, we should start preparing by now, or before this month. Like October, we're in November, I guess. By October, we should start planning for the dry season. That is the first cycle in this part of the country. That is the northern part and north central of the country. If we can have those plans and then strictly follow them, I think we can have more food and we can reduce wastages. We waste a lot, Mr. Sel, especially in terms of our post-harvest losses. In post-harvest losses, our post-harvest losses are huge. A farmer, in some crops, a farmer can lose up to 50%. Some can lose up to 20%, 30%. It depends on the way of which those crops were harvested and treated. So we can reduce more wastages. And once we reduce the wastages, definitely we have more food and the prices definitely will come down and be very affordable. Okay. So all we want from our Nigerians to have is sufficient food and affordable. Our farmers are very hardworking, very resilient. They can grow anything. We have the land. All we need is the will, the political will to produce, and we'll do it. We can produce and export. There is no need of importing any food into this country. Before, it was just like it's almost impossible to when you see strawberry, is when you go abroad. Today we produce strawberry, we produce apple, there is nothing that we cannot grow in this country. We have the land, we have everything. God has given everything we need to produce. All we need is to have a coordinated effort, you understand, to use those advantages we have.
All right. I like to think that Dr. Ekweme is still with us. Signal still good. Can ensure if you can. All right. There you are. Well, I believe that will improve. But if you can hear me, let's take this to you. And because we have very soon we'll be winding down. But let's hear you talk about the opportunities that are available now to drive growth and food sufficiency and what needs to be done. If we're looking at eradicating hunger by 2030, zero hunger in Nigeria, how close are we to achieving that, and what does Nigeria need to do to attain that?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
All right. Well, Nigeria can attain full food sufficiency or security in a very short period. I think the president is serious about that. More recently, he launched the 500 billion naira fund for agriculture, and he was targeted at mechanization that have been so much spoken about this evening. Mechanization. And another aspect of that program is the seed distribution, supplying high quality seed to farmers in order to improve yield. And they have that program is trying to capture as well access to fertilizer, how these farmers can have access to fertilizers in the rural areas. Because one thing is about making these things available, the other thing is about getting to the end users. The people who are much more supposed to be beneficiaries of these programs are the smallholder farmers. And most times, these fertilizers or inputs are being hijacked at the top and being sold to the highest bidder. And as such, the effort or the aim of the president is no longer met. Okay. So by this fund is trying to make for us to have access to fertilizers and as well as irrigation. So we can, looking at all this is trying to do, the president is doing, we can achieve food sufficiency if we are serious with it. Like now, we have to look down. We have to go down to the...
Oh dear, it's frozen again. We'll return to you in a short while, when that cleans up. But let's come to the phones. And Njuma is calling in from Abuja. Hello.
Morning. Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, Danjuma, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Your name is on the screen. It means the call has been passed through. So if you can just go on, we can hear you.
Oh.
Just go ahead and talk, sir.
Hello?
We can hear you. We can...
Okay. My complaint is that I'm a farmer. I have over 55 hectares of rice farming located in Kogi State. But with this, what I'm hearing on this program, I've never had access to all these government subsidizing chemical for farmers. Like this year, there is no way I can even recover half of the money I spent on farming. Well, I bought a carton of chemical upwards of 42,000 naira, and I used over 40 cartons of chemical to spray on the rice. And the rice actually produced well, but the price drastically dropped. Last year, I sold a bag of, in Kogi State, we normally package our rice on 300 kg bag. Last year, we sold a bag for 170,000 naira. But this year, it's going for 55,000 naira. The price drastically dropped. So most of us were afraid of farming. And we don't have I don't have access to anything about government subsidizing either fertilizer like urea or born urea about almost 50-something thousand naira this year, and the chemical is going for 42,000 naira a carton. So I don't know, how do we have access to all these things on the chemical or fertilizer? How like the three gentlemen are talking, how do we access them?
Well,
and I love farming. I'm a retired public servant, and I decided to go into farming.
Okay.
The 2 years now that I did now, I don't think I will get half of my money. So I don't know, how can I come in? This is my phone number, and who will I call?
Okay.
To at least to get access to government subsidized price.
Fine.
That is my complaint.
Fine. It's a good thing you say you're a rice farmer. And we have the National Vice President of Rice Farmers Association right here with us. So, this... Please turn down the volume of your TV. The hellback is all over the place. Yes, and the National Vice President of RIFAN is here with us.
Well, I can just pray and plead with the government to reduce this, find a way of reducing this prices, the cost of input, bring it down.
Well, he said he doesn't even have access. He doesn't even
have
know
access.
What to do, where to go, how to go.
Now,
well, perhaps would step in here.
We don't have fertilizers to sell. We don't produce fertilizers. Even if we buy fertilizer, we buy it from the open market and we sell it at that same price.
Can I come?
You understand? So I think he is talking, maybe he's directing the question to the government.
No.
Interventions.
I think what he's saying is membership, because it is the responsibility of the associations to make available.
Yes,
that is exactly what I was trying
I'm coming, sir. You see, RIFAN have chapters in all the states of the federation. Same with my organization, Community Allied Farmers Association. Now, what we are supposed to do and what the government is supposed to do is to have a database. We don't have a database in this country. There should be a holistic agricultural database. And then in every organization, we should have an ICT expert who takes inventory and records of people who goes into water production. And the government should also create, like if you go to the Ministry of Agriculture now, in Kogi State, they may not even have an agri-desk officer or a rice desk officer.
But what I'm simply saying, if you look at it this way, still you have to go to market to buy.
No.
Listen to me. You have to source for funding.
Yeah, for sure.
You understand? If you are sourcing for that funding, you are getting that funding with interest.
Let me say something.
Yes, sir.
The truth of the matter is that there are certain individuals that think they cannot belong
to
an organization, that they are institutions on themselves. No matter how big you are, you should belong to an organization. Rivan cannot say as a body that they have put in their requests for government and a certain percentage of such requests have not been met. Because once you have an organization and you are able to approach government, government will definitely subsidize the organizations. For instance, the issue of the tractors that about 200,000 have been, about 2,000 have been launched. More are coming. And for it not to go into hands of
the wrong people, we have decided that when such things come, we look for farmers' organization, whether yam farmers, rice farmers, beans farmers, corn farmers, and we give this to them. And if you don't belong to that, like our gentle friend that had just spoken, if you don't belong to any association, it will be very difficult for you as an individual.
I think I'm getting, if you had allowed me to conclude my statement, I've just explained to you in details. What I'm simply saying is that, yes, you are right that he has to belong to an association. For us, we have database of our farmers. We have every details of at least the farmer. We capture some significant number of farmers, which we have their locations, we have their names, we have all their details. We have it in our offices. We have a database, quite all right. But you see, and at the same time, we are putting in this request also, and we are following it up. And we believe that government will listen to us and do. But what we want generally is let government come up with a policy to reduce this cost to a level that anybody can go into a market and buy. We have to come up with a policy that can be sustained. You understand? Government cannot continue to give young people, farmers, year in, year out, you understand, giving you free fertilizer, free, all this. If we want it sustained. To sustain the government effort, government has to look at ways, you understand, to reduce the cost of this input. Right. And if those costs of input are reduced, they will translate into so many things. So many people will go into farmers. Those farmers that stop will continue. Those that are there will not increase the number of the hectares they normally cultivate in it. And also, you have to note that, you understand, agriculture is the only business that can employ the whole of Nigeria. The 200 and the 60, or how many, 200 plus we have in the country, agriculture can employ all of us. So we can produce all we need. We can produce sufficient rice. We have done it before, and we can do it. All we need is those subsidies. Once we have those subsidies, we can produce.
All right. From my understanding of what Danjuma was saying, we've heard presentations here that the government has done a lot in providing some inputs and all that. But what I heard Danjuma say, that he has never had access to any of this. Now, either directly or through a cooperative or through anyone, but I was interested in what he was saying because he said he was a rice farmer. And I'm wondering if he has a rice farm in Kogi and there's refund in Kogi, would farmers like Danjuma do better to be referred to the association? Because I do not expect that the government will go after every individual farmer.
Exactly. That was, yes, exactly.
It's not possible. Okay.
So he...
Let me chip in. You see, in 2012, I think that was during Jonathan's era, when the Cassava Bread Initiative came on board. I was the national PR of Nigerian Cassava Growers Association then. What we did was to do a publication on national dailies, inviting all cassava farmers across the 30 cities of the Federation and FCT. If you know you're a cassava farmer, you are farming cassava, whether at the backyard or you have a cassava farm anywhere, identify with your state chapter. And they will give numbers of our state chairman. And then people start coming in and people started registering. And they will be able to do 29,850 hectares of cassava for high quality cassava flour then. So I think what we should do as association is also to make our platform available for people to access informations, on daily basis. Like Benjamin that called, if really is a rice farmer in Kogi State, he should be able to know that there's refund. Whereby he's not aware that there's refund, the refund of Kogi chapter should once in a while create a program that people will be aware that they're in existence in Kogi State or any part of Nigeria. We cannot be doing national association when people at the grassroots are not aware of what we're doing. So we must, at our own end, as associations, create platform and avenue for people to really know what we're doing and to also to belong to what we're doing. Because for Danjuma, just like what Doctor is saying here, there's no way if we have a voice and we want to speak to the government will not give us a listening ear. It's not possible. It is government for the people and we are the people. So if we come together now as an association and we said, Mr. President, I remembered in previous administrations, we used to go to the villa to go and have dialogue with the government and we discuss. That was how the Uncle Brothers came up and so some other agriculture intervention programs came up. So I think we are also at our own end should also create a communication platform so that people can also know what we're doing, and so doing they'll be able to benefit from other policies of government.
All right, we're rounding off right now, so we'll just quickly take the closing comments. I wonder if Dr. Kweme is still with us there. Are you still with us? Yes, please. And in just a minute, can we have you just give us the final thoughts on this matter?
All right. I want to first of all thank the President for giving the but I also want to
oh dear. Unfortunately, the sound is not just clean now.
Please, can you hear me now?
Okay, now it's a bit cleaner, and clearer, right?
Okay, I want to please the Vice President of the Rights Farmers Association.
Okay.
So please, now we can get the farmers in the rural involved.
Okay.
In my area, I am quite confident. I know that we have a lot of land that can grow rice very, very well. And some farmers are also doing that. I know there are a lot of rice farmers here, but I don't think there's government presence for them. And I think you need to galvanize support for them so that we can actually bring everybody on board. So on that note, I want to say that if we do that and all that, can come together as a team.
Okay.
See how we can bring our intellect together and actually meet for solutions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Ifeanyi Amos Ekweme of the Department of Agricultural Economics and Extension, Ignatius Ajuri University of Education, Port Harcourt. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, it naturally would just come to you. You heard the man, he made a request. Yes, we know you were Vice President Northwest, but you're still an executive of the National, of the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria. So, as you close.
Sometimes I'm surprised actually because our structure is such that it's from national, state, local government, ward, and clusters.
Right.
So it's I don't know what really went wrong.
Rivers,
in Rivers State and also in Kogi State, because we had several programs which are national programs, widely advertised, and we have participation from almost every ward in this country. And that is our strength. Okay. You understand? We have about 12 million farmers, rice farmers, across the country, registered, starting from the national to the ward. We have about 108 officials from national to the world. So the structure is really
well,
but
perhaps
we I'm not giving excuses. We look into these complaints and then
perhaps do more.
Do more.
All right, we'd like to thank you very much for coming on. The National Vice President, Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria Northwest, Muhammad Awalu. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Dr. Austin Maduka, founder and chairman, Community Allied Farmers Association of Nigeria, COMAFAS. Thank you. One quick last word.
Well, I want to sincerely appreciate NTA for always finding us worthy to come on this platform, to talk to Nigerians and talk to the government. And this has really helped because we know that the government listens because all the things we said in the past are coming to fruition now. I was happy to hear what the governor of Benue State is doing regarding processing of fruits in Benue State, and I know we make so many comments about post-harvest losses of fruit, vegetables, and fruits.
All right.
And then I think the government is listening. I want to thank Mr. President for being a listening president.
And finally, Dr. Amos Gizo, Chairman, Lower Benue River Basin Development Authority, and you also coordinate the River Basin, the 12 River Basin Authority.
Thank you, Cyril. Right. First and foremost, I want to state, of course, you are my icon when it comes to journalism. My profession is journalism. I'm a politician, and I've actually gotten to this level. Nigeria, in the real sense of it, with a political will like what Mr. President has put, has no reason to be counted among states where citizens cannot be fed.
Okay.
And the reason is simple. We have everything. I'm traveling to Morocco by the invitation of the King of Morocco on the 26th. I will be there for 4 days. Morocco is a desert country, but they are producing food and sending it to Europe.
And so
we should
Nigeria
be able to do better in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And this is where we leave the conversation tonight. We thank you all for watching, and for those who called in for being part of it. Next week, we'll be back with NTA Tuesday Live. I'm Cyril Stober. Bye for now.